Ariel Helwani in Atlanta for UFC 201 alongside Tyron Woodley, who meets Robbie Lawler this Saturday for the UFC welterweight title. We are finally here, my man. You know, it's campaign season. I don't know if you heard, elections coming up, and I feel like this is the culmination of your campaign. You actually had to go out there and stump for this title shot. Good things happen to good people. You got it. Yeah. What's it like knowing that in 3 days you finally get that wish?
It feels good. In 3 days I'll be able to go out there and show everybody I'm the best welterweight in the world.
Is it somewhat surreal that it's finally here, that you're finally getting that title shot after having to talk about it for so long?
No, I mean, if you know you're the best welterweight in the world, you just take your time and you just be patient. Sometimes I was getting to the point where, you know, I kind of lost hoping that the right thing would happen, but I'm here, and Saturday I'll show you guys I'm the best welterweight in the world.
Now, where is your hype man? Because every good fighter needs a good hype man. I've seen your hype man before. It's your little son.
In the sky.
Your son is the man. In the embedded, he's the man, that guy. You need that little guy with you at all times. He really hypes you up.
He's always with me. Every time I'm training, I'm running on the treadmill, I don't feel like doing it. I was on the bike the other day, and I FaceTimed him because I had 20 minutes left, but I didn't feel like I had 20 minutes left in me. But those guys encouraged me. I buried them deep on the inside, and they'll see their dad realize his goal of being the best welterweight in the world.
Will your kids go to the fight?
No, they will not. They will watch me on television and
live.
I don't know for sure. Yeah.
What are you weighing?
What I'm like weight wise?
No. Like, why won't they watch their dad fight for the belt?
I don't want them to think their dad is this crazy animal.
Okay. Well, they've seen you before, though, right?
They've seen me before, but they haven't seen me go out there to show that I'm the best welterweight in the world.
This is a different Tyron.
It's not a different Tyron. It's the same Tyron that's just willing to let everything out.
Okay. You know, throughout your career, if I may, I feel like there's been 2 knocks on you. Mm-hmm. I feel like the first knock has been sometimes you don't win the big one. Remember Dana White said this about you, the Strikeforce fight, Vancouver, etc. The other one was, as the fight goes on, that's when you open yourself up. You haven't been in the championship rounds like this guy who usually, you know, strives and thrives in the championship rounds. Do you feel like those knocks are fair?
I'm going to give you 2 answers.
Okay.
The first answer, I'm the best welterweight in the world. Okay. So that negates all the other answers. But since I know you do your research, you actually study, you give concise questions because you know me and Robbie, you know what this means, and you know where I've been, I'll give you the actual answer.
Okay.
Many people have a lot of things to say, but many people aren't in that octagon. And when was the last time I've been in a fight that hasn't been a big fight? Yeah. I've been in a big fight since Andre Goval, who at the time he was the best grappler on the planet Earth, and if I'd have hit the ground with him, he probably would have put me in some type of pretzel and sprinkled cinnamon sugar over me. So with that said, I've always been in big fights. I don't know if you think Carlos Condit was a big fight, or Josh Koscheck was a big fight, or Jay Heron was a big fight, or Dong Hyun Kim was a big fight, or Kelvin Gastelum was a big fight. They're always big fights to somebody else, but when I completely take all their tools from their toolbox and make them look not as great as Paul Daly might have looked against somebody else, not as great as Tarek Saffiedine might have looked against someone else, it's not my fault you can't look that way against me. I'm just a guy that's well-rounded. I believe in myself. And sometimes my fights don't go to the later rounds because I end up knocking the person out, or I submit the person, or the person just, you know, wants to get out of the octagon, and I give them a way out. So I don't really take that to mind. I train too hard. I got great people behind me. And I put myself in a position to be successful. Robbie has been in some wars. He's been, you know, he's shown in his later part of his career that he is a champion. He's came back from some adversity, and he's fought his way through. Many fights he wasn't winning. Many fights people controversially think he lost. But you got to look at every round. You don't get the 1st and 5th round every round from Robbie Lawler. So just know that I'm a smart man and I do my homework.
I thought you said something very interesting on the embedded. You said this guy has lost before. Robbie Lawler has lost to some, you know, you could say subpar fighters, but all of a sudden he has this aura surrounding him. How do you, like, do you even view him as Robbie Lawler champion, or do you view him as like the Robbie Lawler who was losing to Lorenz Larkin in Strikeforce?
Well, you know, I don't want to take away anybody's shine. He's deserved that point. You know, he's been extremely active in some, even his 5-round fights that weren't title fights. You know, so I never want to take credit from a person that's earned what they've gotten. But people do have a short-term memory. They remember his last wars. They remember him getting his hand raised. They don't remember the Tim Kennedy, the Jacare Souza. They don't remember the Lorenz Larkin, the Jake Shields. They don't remember those fighters. Now, if you think about those guys, 2 of those guys were exceptional grapplers. One of those guys was extremely fast and extremely creative with the striking. The other guy had a wrestling style that he couldn't handle the pressure of. I just saw it damn happen to every last one of them. You know, I can do all those things, and I can stand in the paint and bang as well. So I feel like I have so many different ways to win a fight. I'm excited about the matchup. I respect Robbie a lot. but I have no problem when that cage light going out there and proving I'm the best in the world.
He told us moments ago that he feels like he doesn't get the respect that he deserves, and I feel like that best sums up your career at this point. Like, people are just sort of looking past this fight and saying, "Oh, what's next for Robbie?"
I don't think he feels that. I think he knows he gets respect. You don't get Fighter of the Year, Fight of the Year. You don't get nominated for an ESPY. You don't get the respect from all the fighters and your peers. I think it's a mental thing that he has to tell himself that I always see myself as an underdog. I always see myself as, not getting the respect that I deserve. That's something that he has to tell himself, so he keeps himself humble, keeps himself low. I respect that in him, but he is getting the credit. I don't think he's getting more than what he deserves. I think he's getting what he deserves. He is getting the respect. He has my respect, but if anybody should say that, I think I should be the one that's saying that. I don't get the respect, and I don't get the credit that I deserve. And guess what? I don't care, because Saturday night, whether I deserved it, whether this person should have got it over me, whether he slipped on a banana peel, whatever happened, I will go out there, I will win this fight, and I will do it in fashion that's going to leave everybody mouth on the ground.
Would you call the other welterweights again?
The welterwhiners. It's a few of them in here. It's actually annoying.
Oh, really? Who's in here? I know who you're talking about.
Who's in here.
That's right. But, do you take some pride in the fact that you're sitting up here fighting for the belt and the others aren't?
I never, I always think of my haters as my footstool anyway. Okay. So I put myself mentally there, and what I believe is that everybody who has counted me out in this fight, you got Wonder Woman already talking about he think a matchup with him and Robbie is great. What's going to happen is I'm going to win this fight. And there's only one person that realizes that I'm going to win this fight, and that's Kelvin Gastelum. Okay. Because he's asking to fight me. If he thought I was going to lose this fight, why would he be asking to fight me?
Right.
And he's the least deserving of a rematch. Every highlight you see of this fight is me basically tuning him up after he didn't have to make weight. So with that said, Wonder Boy get an opportunity to fight Robbie, as he wanted, right? That was the matchup everybody want to see. He'll get that in a non-title fight. And I'll be looking to fight George St. Pierre. I'll be looking to fight Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, Bisping, anybody who's going to reel in the big dough. It's time for the chosen one to get paid. I am the person that you don't have to work. You can give me a 16th of the boost you give a Conor or Ronda. I do it by myself, you know what I mean? I was on the set of Fast and the Furious, so UFC didn't set that up. Yeah. So it's time for people to start realizing what I bring to the table, how good I am for the organization, how good I am for the young teen African-American kid that's struggling, that found a way out, how good I am for the entertainment aspect, the analyst aspect. Every aspect you think of, family, childhood. I grew up in Ferguson. Why do I have to work so hard to get these things out? So I've done it myself. This guy right here, he's not paid by the UFC. He's covering my journey for
Champ
me.
Camp.
Champ Camp.
There we go.
Make sure you guys tune in.
Two last things. Do you feel like they dropped the ball with the countdown show? You guys have such a great history.
You guys aren't with MMA fighting.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Please do me a favor and not record this.
It's all good. It's all good.
I appreciate it.
You told me your great backstory with Robbie coming up, and you guys, cross paths at the wrestling tournaments, all that stuff, Strikeforce and training together, and they didn't touch any of that. Why? That would have been a great way to sell the fight, right?
It's silly. They, my only frustration is 2 weeks before the fight, 1 week before the fight, don't try to get me to sell the fight. I'm sorry. The fight's happening. I'm not going to sell the fight at that point. Me and Robbie trained together before he was ATT. When he owned a gym 15 minutes away from my house, I drove there because he was there. He was this guy that, I remember from the UFC, and I went there to train with him. Then I got into Strikeforce. I said, man, I need to be on this card. I heard you fight Jake Shields, who I later fought. I said, I need the number to whoever. I had one pro fight. He took out his phone and gave me Javier Mendez's number. I went to AKA and trained, and I was like, Javier Mendez. I was like, did I just talk to you on the phone? He's like, yeah, this is my gym. I'm like, that's crazy. Bob Cook brought me out there. I didn't even know Javier Mendez. So all these things are lined up, and you would never hear this ever in the history of the sport. I sold 200 tickets to fight on the undercard of Strikeforce, Lawler versus Shields, and they wanted to take me off the card, and Bob Cook said no. Wow. This is a Nick Diaz killer right here. This kid's green, but he has the tools to get to the top. He believed in me at that young age. He wasn't even my manager. He's never earned a dime from me. He said he stays on the card. At the weigh-ins, him and Scott Corker walked up to me and they said, who do we need to talk to about a 6-fight deal with the Strikeforce? No fighter has ever been pulled up from an undercard. It's really a separate promotion. They grabbed me. I said, my lawyer's right here. My manager's right here. Let's do it. We stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning, weigh-in night. We did the contract. I went out there. I finished the guy in the first round, and that was all she wrote. This is destiny that I'm sitting here, and I don't take it lightly. I'm excited, but I am the best welterweight in the world.
Finally, and what a story that is. Have you envisioned what it will feel like when Dana White puts that belt around your waist? Like, do you feel it? Do you dream about that moment? What do you think it's going to be like?
No, that's why I like you. I asked Anthony Pettis this. We were training, sparring with my man Biggie and Gerald, and I stopped and I looked at Anthony and I said, what did it feel like when Dana White came behind you and he put that belt around your waist? He said, man, I felt like I was a man. I was in Milwaukee. I was in my hometown. Nothing felt like that moment. And I saw him go back to that moment. And that's all I'm waiting on, that one moment where I know there's no way that the judges can squeak me out. I know there's no way I can get caught with a weird shot or get put in a submission hold or, get in a situation where I feel like I can't get out of. At that moment, you know it's worth all the sacrifice. You know it's worth everything. And you're the best welterweight in the world.
Good luck, Tyron. Looking
you.
forward to it.
Got it.